Hello everyone. Today we're going to discuss another topic about quadratic equation. And the topic is about solving quadratic equations by quadratic formula. At the end of this video, you can perform the following. Number 1. Identify the values of A, B, and C in a quadratic equation. Number 2. Use the quadratic formula to solve quadratic equations. Number 3. Solve quadratic equations with only one solution. And number 4. Solve quadratic equations with fractions. So let us determine the values of A, B, and C in a quadratic equation. So to determine the value of A, B, and C, see to it na yung ating mga quadratic equation ay nasa standard form or in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Now, let us proceed to the first example. 5x squared plus 2x minus 1 equals 0. So, mapapansin natin na yung given equation is already in standard form. So, meaning, pwede natin kuhanin ang value ng a, b, c. So, what is the value of a? Of course, the answer is 5. And what is the value of b? So, the answer is 2. And the value of c, of course, is negative 1. Now, how about in number 2? 3x squared equals x minus 2. So, this equation is not in standard form. So, ibig sabihin, isusulat muna natin siya into standard form para makuha natin ang value ng a, value ng b, and value ng c. Now, we can give it out the equation. So, the equation is 3x squared minus x plus 2 equals 0. So, meaning we're going to apply now addition property of equality. Add both sides by negative x. And then after that, you're going to simplify. And then the next is add both sides by positive 2. Or simply transfer x to the left and negative 2 to the left. Now, what is the value of a, b, c? The value of a, of course, is 3. The value of b is negative 1. And the value of c equals 2. So, talakayin muna natin, ano ba yung quadratic formula? Sabi dito, the solution of the quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, wherein the value of a is not equal to 0 or x equals negative b plus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, and x equals negative b minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Or, in compact form, x equals negative b plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So, ibig sabihin, if you want to use na quadratic formula, see to it na memorize mo yung ating quadratic formula. Yung negative b plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then after that, dapat alam din natin kung paano kuhanin ang value ng a, b, and c. And take note, makukuha lang natin yung value ng a, b, and c kung ang equation ay nasa standard form. So, let us now proceed to example number 1. 2x squared plus x minus 3 equals 0. Now, to solve this equation by quadratic formula, see to it na yung quadratic equation natin ay naka-standard form. Why? Because of the value of a, the value of b, and the value of c. Now, this equation is already in standard form. Now, what do you think the value of a? The value of a equals 2, the value of b equals 1, and the value of c equals negative 3. Now, kung meron na tayong value ng a, b, c, so this time, you're going to write now the quadratic formula para makompute na natin. You're going to replace all the values of a, b, and c in the formula. So, meaning, instead of b, ang gagamitin nyo ay 1. Instead of a, ang gagamitin nyo ay 2. At instead of c, ang gagamitin nyo ay negative 3. Now, let us now proceed. So, that's why it becomes negative 1 plus the square, plus and minus the square root of 1 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 3 all over 2 times 2. Why it become negative 1? Now, in the formula, there is negative b, meaning negative 1 times the value of b, which is 1, so negative 1 times 1, so that's why it become negative 1. And then, plus and minus the square root of 1 squared, why it become 1 squared? Because the value of b is 1, and then negative 4 times the value of A 2, and then times the value of C na negative 3. So, uunahin na natin yung nasa ibabaw. Yung negative 1 plus and minus, square root of 1 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 3. So, it become what? Negative 1 plus and minus square root of 1 plus 24. Why it become 1 plus 24? 1 square equals 1. And then negative 4 times 2 is negative 8 times negative 3 equals positive 24. All over 2 times 2, which is 4. And then, of course, you're going to simplify. It become negative 1 plus and minus square root of 25. Saan galing yung 25? Doon sa 1 plus 24. Then all over 4. So, meaning, sisimplify na natin yung resulting equation. Now, alam natin na ang square root ng 25 ay dalawa. Isa ay positive 5 and the other one is negative 5. So, that's why the first equation is negative 1 plus 5 all over 4, or x equals negative 1 minus 5 all over 4. Now, simplify. What is negative 1 plus 5? So, the answer is positive 4 over 4. Okay, and the other one is negative 1 plus minus 5. So, the answer is negative 6 over 4. So, the answer is negative 3 halves. So, what is the solution of the quadratic? Of course, the answer is 1 or negative 3 over 2. So let us now proceed to example number 2. The equation is negative x squared equals 8x plus 1. So this equation is not in standard form. So ibig sabihin, susulat mo natin siya into standard form. We're going to apply addition property or subtraction property of equality. We're going to add both sides by negative 8 and then simplify, and then after that add both sides by negative 1 and then simplify, or simply transfer 8x to the left, so it become negative 8x, and transfer 1 to the left, so it become negative 1. So the equation is negative x squared minus 8x minus 1 equals 0. Now, ang tanong, ilalagay pa po ba natin ang value ng a into positive value? So the answer is no need. Hindi na kailangang ilagay sa positive value ang a. Why? Meron naman kasi tayong formula. So, this equation is already in standard form. So, meaning, kukuhanin natin ang value ng A, value ng B, and then value ng C. Now, who can give me now the value of A? Of course, the answer is negative 1. And the value of B is negative 8. And the value of C is negative 1. Now, meron na tayong value ng A, meron na tayong value ng B, and meron na rin tayong value ng C. So, ang gagawin natin sunod, we're going to write now the equation of what we call the quadratic formula. The equation for the quadratic formula, which is negative b plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Take note, kailangan memorize natin yung quadratic formula. So, replace the value of a, which is negative 1. Replace the value of b na negative 8 and the value of c na negative 1. So, it becomes x equals negative times the quantity of negative 8 plus and minus the square root of the quantity of negative 8 squared minus 4 times the quantity of negative 1 times the value of c, which is negative 1, all over 2 times the value of a, which is negative 1. And of course, we're going to simplify now negative times negative 8. So, ang tanong, bakit po may negative tapos magkaroon pa uling negative? Because of the formula is negative b and the value of b is negative 8. So, simplify, so it become 8 plus and minus the square root of 64 minus 4. So, why it becomes 64? Negative 8 raised to second power, meaning multiply negative 8 by itself, so it becomes 64. And then negative 4 times negative 1 times negative 1, so it becomes negative 4. And then all over 2 times negative 1. So, simplify again, so it becomes 8 plus and minus square root of 60 all over 2. So, why it becomes square root of 60? Saan galing yun? Doon yun sa 64 minus 4. And then simplify. Now, in this equation, mapansin natin square root of 60 is not a perfect square. So, you're going to think now the possible factor of 60 ng isa ay perfect square. And that is 4 times 15. Because we all know that square root of 4, dalawa, one is positive and the other one is negative. So, that's why it becomes now 8 plus 2 square root of 15 all over negative 2 or x equals 8 minus 2 square root of 15 all over negative 2. So, in this equation, mapansin natin, pwede pa rin natin isimplify yung 8 and negative 2, 2 and negative 2, pero hindi natin pwedeng pagsamahin yung 8 at saka yung 2 square root of 15. Why? Because they are not like term. So, let us now simplify again. Now, x equals negative 4 minus the square root of 15. Bakit nagkaganon? Why it become negative 4 minus the square root of 15? That is 8 divided by negative 2 is negative 4. 2 over negative 2 is negative 1 is square root of 15. And the other one, 8 divided by negative 2 is negative 4. And then negative 2 divided by negative 2, so that's why it becomes positive 1, then times the square root of 15. So the solution of the quadratic now is negative 4 plus and minus is square root of 15. So let us now proceed to the next example, example number 3. Now solve 9x squared equals 42x minus 49. Now, mapansin natin, the same in the last example, this equation is not in standard form. So meaning, ilalagay muna natin ito into standard form and then saka natin kukuhanin ang value ng A, ang value ng B, and then value ng C. So it become 9x squared minus 42x plus 49. So mapansin natin, yung first term, yung value ng A at yung value ng C ay parehong perfect square. So let us now determine, or let us find out what is the value of A, B, C. And of course, the value of A is 9, the value of B is negative 42, and the value of C is 49. Ngayon, meron na tayong value ng A, ng B, at ng C. Write the quadratic equation, and then after that, you're going to replace the value of A, B, C in the quadratic equation. So, it becomes negative times negative 42, which is the value of B, plus and minus the square root of negative 42 squared, negative 4 times the value of A, and then times 49, the value of C, all over 2 times the value of A, which is 9. And then simplify again. So it becomes x equals 42 plus and minus the square root of 1,764 minus 1,764 all over 18. And of course, if you're going to subtract now 1,764 by itself, so it becomes 0. So the answer now is 42 plus and minus is square root of 0. And what is square root of 0? Of course, the answer is 0. Now, simplify again. So it becomes now 42 over 18. And then think a number, once you divide it by 42, so masisimplify siya, the same number na i-divide doon sa 18. So the answer now is 7 over 3. So ano yung i-divide natin? Doon sa 42 and 18. So that is 6. 42 divides 6, 18 divides 6, so the answer is 7 over 3. So what is the solution of the quadratic equation? Of course, the answer is 7 over 3. So there is only one solution. Pareho kasi siyang 7 over 3. So let us now proceed to example number 4. N squared equals 2/3 m plus 4 over 9. Now you may observe this equation is different from example number 1, example number 2, and example number 3. Now, how to transform now this kind of quadratic equation? Ang unang gagawin natin, ililipat muna natin siya sa walang fraction na equation. So, think now a number which is the least common denominator of 1, 3, and 9. Saan galing yung 1? So, that is the denominator of n squared, 3, denominator of 2/3, at 9, denominator of 4 over 9. So, what do you think? The LCD. So, the LCD is 9. So, anong gagawin ngayon sa 9? You're going to multiply both member of the equation by the least common denominator. So, meaning, 9 times n squared, so it becomes 9n squared. And of course, you're going to multiply the right member of the equation by the LCD, or by 9. So, it becomes now 9 times the quantity of 6 over 9m plus 4 over 9. So, bakit naging 6 over 9m plus 4 over 9? So, we simplify now the equation 2/3 m plus 4 over 9 with the same denominator. So we're going to multiply, so we can cancel now 9, 9. So the answer now is 9m squared equals 6m plus 4. Now, this time, we're going to transform now the resulting equation into standard form. So it becomes 9m squared minus 6m minus 4 equals 0. Now, what is the value of A, the value of B, and the value of C of the equation? So, of course, the value of A equals 9, the value of B equals negative 6, and the value of C equals negative 4. Pag nakuha na natin ngayon ang value ng A, B, C, isusulat na natin ang quadratic equation. And what is our quadratic equation? M equals negative B plus and minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. And then this time, we're going to replace the value of ABC in the quadratic equation. So, the result is M equals negative times the quantity of negative 6 plus and minus the square root of the quantity of negative 6 squared minus 4 times 9 times negative 4 all over 2 over 9. And then simplify, so it become M equals 6 plus and minus the square root of 36 plus 144 all over 18. So we're going to simplify. So 36 plus 144, so it becomes 180. And then we're going to factor now 180. So it becomes 36 times 5. Now, what is the square root of 36? Of course, we have positive and negative 6 times the square root of 5 all over 18. And then, let us simplify. So, we can simplify now 6 and 18. 6 become 1, 18 become 3. And then, 6 the square root of 5. We can also simplify 6 by 18. So, the answer is 1 plus and minus the square root of 5 all over 3, or M equals 1 plus the square root of 5 over 3, or M equals 1 minus the square root of 5 over 3. Then, what is the solution of the quadratic? So, we have 1 plus and minus the square root of 5 all over 3. So, let us now proceed to example number 5. X squared minus 4 over 3x equals negative 2/3. So, the same dun sa example number 4, ilalagay natin ang equation ito sa equation na walang fraction. So, meaning, you're going to determine what is the least common denominator between 1, 3, 3, and of course, the LCD equals 3. So, ang gagawin natin ngayon, i-multiply natin both member of the equation by 3. So, multiply 3 by the first member of the equation, so it becomes now 3 times the quantity of x squared minus 4 over 3x equals, the same dun sa right, multiply din to ng 3, so that's in negative 2/3 times 3. Now, in the left member of the equation, multiply 3 by x squared, so it becomes now 3x squared, and then multiply 3 by negative 4 over 3x, it becomes now negative 4x, then equal to negative 2. Then, you're going to simplify now this equation, transform into standard forms. It becomes now 3x squared minus 4x plus 2 equals 0. And then determine the value of ABC. Now, what is the value of A? 3, B negative 4, and of course C equals 2. Then, write the quadratic equation, and then after that, replace the value of ABC to the quadratic equations. It becomes x equals negative times the quantity of negative 4 plus and minus the square root of the quantity of negative 4 squared minus 4 times 3 times 2 all over 2 times 3. Simplify, so we have now negative times negative 4, of course it becomes positive 4. Negative 4 raised to the second power, so it becomes now 16. Negative 4 times 3, negative 12 times 2, so it becomes now negative 24. Then all over 6. So, it becomes x equals 4 plus and minus the square root of 16 minus 24 all over 6. Simplify. So, it becomes x equals to 4 plus and minus the square root of negative 8 all over 6. Now, you may observe now the radicand of the, what we call the radicand of the quadratic is negative 8, or the square root of negative 8, meaning no real solution. So what is the solution of the quadratic? So the answer is empty set, or no real solution. So ibig sabihin, kapag nag-negative yung nasa loob ng radical sign natin, no real solution. No real solution. So that's all. Thank you for watching. God bless and keep safe, everyone.